So when Alan Ritchson got the call to play Jack Reacher, he wasn't just taking on a role. He was basically being asked to become an icon. And the challenge was absolutely massive. How do you physically become a character whose sheer presence is a weapon? All right, let's get into how he pulled off this incredible transformation.
The author, Lee Child, laid out a pretty specific blueprint. Reacher isn't just a strong guy, he's a giant. His physical dominance isn't just a nice-to-have, it's a non-negotiable part of his DNA. So right there, that description set the bar, and man was it set high.
And that's the real question we're going to break down here. It's one thing to look big in a photo shoot. It's a whole other ballgame to move, to fight, and to command a screen like you're the real deal. So, seriously, how do you do it?
Okay, so the very first step was actually a philosophical one. The goal wasn't just about getting strong in the traditional sense. It was about building a totally different kind of strength, one that completely sidesteps the typical Hollywood formula. Yeah, just forget that super shredded, lean, beach body superhero look. The Reacher method was something else entirely. This was all about building functional mass, creating a body that looked like it could actually do the things Reacher does on the page. We're talking pure function over just looking good. And this right here, this was the guiding principle. Every single workout, every single meal was laser-focused on one thing: creating a physique that was absolutely believable in those brutal, messy fight scenes. He didn't just need to look strong, he had to become a legitimate powerhouse.
So let's get into the nitty-gritty. How did he actually build that body? Let's take a look at the blueprint for the workout itself. And I'll tell you, it was a clear, focused, and just absolutely relentless plan.
The whole approach was kind of simple on the surface, built on two main ideas. First, you build a foundation of pure, raw strength using heavy, powerful lifts. Then, and only after that foundation is rock solid, do you start strategically adding size exactly where you need it to create that dominant on-screen presence. So, step one was all about these four big boys, the absolute pillars of strength training. We are talking heavy weight for a super low rep range of just 4 to 6 reps. This isn't about getting a pump for the camera, this is about building the kind of real-world functional power that lets you throw a guy across a room. Now, once that base of pure strength was locked in, the focus shifted to something called hypertrophy. And listen, this wasn't just about getting bigger all over. No way. This was like a strategic art form, targeting the exact muscles that would make him look like a total giant on camera. And that strategic growth? It was all about building a very specific silhouette. The mission was to get a back wide enough to fill a doorway, shoulders broad enough to create that classic V shape, and just thick, powerful arms. Every single exercise was chosen specifically to sculpt that character.
But here's the thing. Being big and strong is pretty much useless if you're gassed 2 minutes into a fight scene. And that's exactly why conditioning was treated as an equal partner to all that heavy lifting. Without stamina, the strength is just for show. And the conditioning was designed to feel like actual combat. We're not talking about a casual jog on the treadmill here. This was explosive, high-intensity stuff, like sled pushes and boxing. Things that build your cardio while keeping you powerful and agile. This is the stuff that lets you move like a fighter. Of course, all that brutal work in the gym would have been for nothing without the right fuel in the tank. So let's look at the nutrition and recovery that really made this whole thing possible in the first place.
The plan was actually pretty simple, but man, was it effective. It was built around a massive amount of high-quality protein to build and repair all that muscle, balanced out with clean carbs for energy, healthy fats, and just tons of vegetables. This wasn't a diet. It was a performance-fueling strategy, plain and simple.
6. That's the number. 6 days a week in the gym, hitting both the heavy lifting and the intense conditioning. That number really says everything you need to know about the kind of relentless commitment this took. There were absolutely no shortcuts. And you just can't train that hard 6 days a week without making recovery an absolute top priority. It wasn't an afterthought. It was non-negotiable. We're talking deep sleep to repair the body, constant hydration, and mobility work to keep from getting injured. All of that was just as crucial as any lift he did in the gym.
So, after all the heavy lifting, the brutal conditioning, and that super disciplined eating, what was the end result? Let's take a look at the final transformation and, maybe more importantly, how everybody reacted to it.
Well, the audience reaction was just immediate, and it was overwhelming. For fans of the books, people who've had this very specific image of Reacher in their heads for years, this was it. This was the moment they'd been waiting for. The hard work had seriously paid off.
And that really gets to the heart of the whole thing. The reason the transformation felt so authentic is because the process was authentic. He wasn't just trying to look the part, he was actually building the physical ability to be the part. The physique was just a natural byproduct of all that purposeful, functional training.
And you know, that really leaves us with a fascinating question to chew on. This whole journey shows that for certain roles, there is a massive difference. This wasn't just about an actor getting in shape. This was about an actor literally rebuilding himself from the ground up to embody the very soul of a character. It's truly a masterclass in commitment.